Good evening. It is Monday night, May 4th, 2026. We're having our weekly Zoom meeting tonight because tomorrow night and the following Tuesday night, I'm attending some free teachings by two speakers affiliated with Andrew Holacek, who is kind of like the master of darkness, of dark retreats, and darkness meaning um, recognizing in the death, coping, adjusting uh, to that inevitable death. And in my email, or if anyone wants that link, let's see, you can go to, I think it's called the field.us, or go to Andrew Holacek's website, and or they can private message me on Facebook and I'll email you the link. But it's three free teachings tomorrow, May 5th and May 12th, and then the following, I think the 16th, Andrew Holacek actually speaks. So for the next 2 weeks, our Zoom meeting will be on Monday night. And I was just talking to Dee about that. So when I recognized I was signing up for those dark lectures, and they were Tuesday, and two of them were Tuesday night. Our Zoom meeting is 7 to 8. I thought, well, I guess I can't have my Zoom meeting. And then the thought came to me, what my thought, that's your higher nature says, oh, you could have your meeting Monday night. And I go, oh, okay. And then it came, if you have just two or three um, people come out to the meeting, that will be sufficient. Because, see, having your spirits here really, really helps me in this presentation. So thank you for coming out tonight. There's God D, God Debbie, God Julia, God Lynn, and of course, God Glenda. Because there's only God's presence. That's the creator, of course, but there's no other essence. There's nothing else other than God's presence. So we're all gods and goddesses walking this holy earth. This holy earth was created out of the clear light of God's light. Although people just act and are victims to their own thoughts, sensations, and emotions. Okay, so that leads into, it dawned on me, I think May 1st, I realized that I didn't want to be any longer victimized by my own emotions. So it came to me. I was laying in bed. It was early morning. It came to me I put my sleep mask on. Look, here comes Ed. I put my sleep mask on and I said to myself, I'm not getting up until I'm awakened or until these bones become dust. I mean, I'd had enough of being victim to my own emotions. And as I did that, I leaned back into God's presence because I know God's presence. It's everywhere. It's here right now. But I just leaned back, relaxed, took a deep breath in and exhaled, saying, ah, I relaxed. And you know what came to mind was a saying called a phrase that Lama Surya Das says in one of these podcasts: dissolve like a salt doll in the sea. I'm going to repeat that: dissolve like a salt doll in the sea. And so as I laid back in that relaxed, well, it's just pure blackness, because the light is so compressed and so tight and so vibrant, it looks like blackness. But I just leaned back, laid back in that, and I started to feel a fizz, a little sparkle around my mouth, my chin, my nose, as I was relaxing. dissolving the salt doll in the sea. So, see, what I was really doing was dissolving, the form was dissolving, letting go, the skin was letting go, dissolving into the clear light of God's presence. And sure enough, I laid there in the view of God's clear light presence. That was May 1st. So that became, and that then started where I next felt like, I think it was the next day, and I might have felt again like there was a still center. There was a still center, just complete stillness that I was in. I was walking in it, I was being in it, and everything was turning around it. You could maybe call it like the mandala. Everything was turning around, turning, rotating around this still center. And of course, every part of the mandala is the still center. The center is boundless, cornerless, edgeless, boundless. But it just felt complete stillness. And that, I forget, was a Wednesday, and I was taught, that I might have been attending Timo's Wednesday meditation, or it could have been Thursday night. I kind of forget when he's reading Longchenpa. But I was explaining about that stillness, and he said something like, just kind of wait a couple of days. Because I was explaining that I felt behind my forehead a whirl of thoughts and feelings. It was whirling, it was whirling. And he thought that sounded like the winds. The winds were whirling, the winds of resulting from that great ray down and up movement. He didn't talk about the great ray, but the winds were whirling behind my forehead. But anyway, sure enough, in a few days, what happened, I forget, I've got notes here. Maybe it's the second. As I did anything, I saw the clear light of God's presence as I did every activity. I'm not kidding. It was pretty unusual, very unusual. Everything was all together, but the predominance was the clear light of God's Spirit, and hasn't gone away, it's still here. Is as I was doing any activity, and that made me think about something I think the Buddha said was, no matter what you're doing, whether you're sitting, lying down, walking, be in the view, be in the view. I don't remember the exact quote, but the view. And what is the view? The view is the clear light of God's presence. It's so pure, it's clear. And that resulted in the main topic for tonight's teaching is, it seems several phrases are coming to me to describe what's occurring, and as I read things, I go, oh yeah, that's what's happening. Is one is the root of dualism must have been cut, thoroughly cut, because see, it slowly gets cut as we practice our truths, integrate them in our daily life. Every time you stop and think about any person or event as the clear light of spirit, you just accessed the right spiritual brain hemisphere of your mind. And by the way, I got to apologize. In my email, I wrote the two brain hemispheres opposite to how they are. I had to open up Buddha Standard Time. Hope you all are each still reading them Buddha Standard Time by Lama Surya Das, where that Jill Bolte Taylor had the stroke. I opened it up, was rereading about it. Is the right brain hemisphere is the spiritual side, and the left brain is the thinking, intellectual, egoic, physical, belief in physical form side. But each time we practice Trechit or Jesus' advanced forgiveness, seeing through, being through, cutting through the images to see their clear light essence, you access the right side of your brain. And with enough of this going back and forth, the clear light of that open right brain openness, you stay there a little longer and it builds on itself. And and then various other practices I'm going to cover tonight that I'm doing, like nothing left to do but rest in the view. That May 1st, besides dissolving like a salt doll, it came to me the phrase, nothing left to do but rest in the view. So as I lean back, my eyes are open under that sleep mask. I'm looking out, gazing, seeing the clear light of God's presence, but I'm resting. I'm being with that clear light presence. Nothing left to do but rest in the view. That's the culmination of Dzogchen, of view, meditation, and action, is nothing left to do but rest in the view. That meaning view is seeing it as it is. Meditation of non-meditation is leaving it as it is, results in these actions where you're responding as needed instead of overdoing and reacting, results in the stabilization and the maturing, the getting used to of the view. The view is the 3-in-1. It's the total of Dzogchen. But anyway, so I would say that to myself. Nothing left to do but rest in the view. But another thing I said to myself, and I've got my notes. I'm not kidding. This came to me to say, and I would say it off and on. I'm dissolving within cognizant luminosity. I'm not kidding. The phrase came as well. Cognizant means it's alert. This awareness is alert, awake, and lucid. I'm dissolving within cognizant luminosity. This clear light is luminous, vibrant, forever creating images. But anyway, now, so then, I'm looking at my notes. So I want to, some other ways to describe this is called dharmata. Let's see, where am I on my paper here? Dharmata. This is Buddhist talk. That's dharmata. Then there's dharmatu, Dharmadhatu. Another way this could be described is called emptiness. That's an ultimate word in Buddhism that isn't said that often because it gets misunderstood. But what it means is emptiness means it's empty of any obscuration, any elaboration, any image or sensation. Pure emptiness, pure emptiness. And dharmata refers to emptiness, the innate reality of like a single individual, like each of you, or dharmata. But the big word, Dharmadhatu, that refers to the emptiness of all things. The basic space of phenomena is this emptiness, and that means the cosmos that encompasses samsara and nirvana, heaven and hell. This emptiness encompasses everything, because the great ray comes down and generates these images out of light, and they're just tight, compressed light. And then on the up ascending movement, the great ray liberates the image back to its pure, clear light, emptiness nature. But it goes so fast, we're only really, and because we're asleep, some of us are asleep, totally asleep, and asleep various times. We're in the contracted state, the downward descending, where it compresses the clear light into a form, creates an image. we're in that contracted state. And that's why we breathe, smile, and relax. When you take that deep belly breath, relax and go, you're relaxing your skin, and that contracted form is dissolving, it's liberating. You're actually then doing manual cleaning then. But anyway, so let me look at my notes about so this big thing that I'm experiencing is no matter what I'm doing, I'm seeing the clear light of God's presence. There's no longer stillness in the center and things moving around it. Everything is integrated. It's all integrated together. Um, and that meant to me that the right brain and the left brain are now fully communicating, fully open, fully talking to each other, which results in the third eye opening. The third eye has opened, fully opened, or I wouldn't be experiencing this, and it being stabilized. The third eye means a single vision. I see the clear light no matter what I'm doing, no matter what. It's here. And all the images are all together with it. And what I wanted to express is, so I was sitting, I Googled something, and up showed a quote from Jesus. And I was Googling about emptiness and the clear light. And here's Jesus says in the Bible, evidently, Matthew 6:22. Here's what Jesus says. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. I'm going to repeat that. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. And see that I realize that's what's happened. Now, see, awakening, you'll feel that third eye it'll open some, then it closes because we're back thinking about contracted dualistic thoughts, and then we practice forgiveness or treacherity or seeing through, being through, practicing breathing, and you relax, and then you're in openness. You're in openness, then you contract back. That's why, Timo, and I ask you to consider at the end of the day, what percentage of your day are you actually open and awake versus asleep, walking around just doing habitual patterns. Not your naked awareness isn't right on, fully aware of what you're doing while you're doing it. And when I was sitting with this experience that's unfolded, I realized the magnitude of us trying to damn practice being fully present with what you're doing while you're doing it. Look what has occurred, what the result is. You will be fully present with what you're doing while you're doing it, and you'll see the clear light at the same time. This will all integrate where heaven and earth are rejoined and no longer separate. You're experiencing what's it called, the divine dance of illusion. We know these images are illusionary, magic show, but it's a divine dance. And because all these illusionary images are created out of light and liberate back into light, they're all gods and goddesses walking this holy earth where we're allowing. And another result of this is then these feelings, when they show up, or thoughts or sensations, or we then can naturally be with them. And that happened, and it kind of blew my mind. The other night, forget what night, it could have been last night. I had plans with a person to do some, and they changed their mind and said they couldn't do it. And for just this brief moment, I felt disappointment, but I didn't be with it. But then I recognized, hold it, I could be with that feeling, because I recognized I'd kind of suppressed it real quick. It had been suppressed because, see, that's the habit. That's the habit of just pushing this stuff aside, denying it, repressing it, etc. So I went, oh, I could be with that feeling. And so I sat with that feeling of disappointment, just sat with it, just be with it. And don't you know, it just dissolved, it liberated. Now, there's a difference between when we're asleep, we're not as quick to realize I'm just going to be with something. Before you know it, we're overindulging. Or we're adding sentences to it and labeling and sorting it good and bad. Because I could have started, but in this awakened state, it never came to me to label disappointment as bad or bad. That I mean, because you're flushing out, you're letting go of these old habitual thought patterns, these old habitual feelings, or you're becoming aware of your feelings and you're aware of when you've been labeling them in the past, and you're letting that go. You're letting these feelings come. That's freedom. That's the mastery of the mind. You're no longer victim of your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But anyway, I thought, whoa, this is the first time I've ever really been with disappointment, a feeling. And it comes naturally because in this state of awakening, we've got they're called kayas in Buddhism, but we got a mind. Let me think here a second. We got a heart mind, we got a breath and energy, and we got a body. There's these kayas, they're called. And I recognized what's occurred is all these kayas have merged. They're no longer separate. There's no longer a separate body full of clogged up thoughts, feelings, and dung balls, my judgments. Those have been flushed out, let go of. And the heart, last week, Dee and I, we were talking about heart and mind. What happens, the heart chakra opens, and you're living from more of a loving, empathetic, compassionate nature. But what happens, the heart joins with that heart chakra, that divine heart, and the mind's awakening to its divine nature, its loving nature, because it's joined with the heart. That's why it's called heart dash mind. And then you're thinking loving thoughts. You're having empathy and compassion. That's part of the awakening. Is we're no longer as rude and mean and obnoxious as we used to be. You know, more loving and considerate. But the other thing that happens is breath and energy rejoins. And I forget what these words are. There's Sambhogakaya, Narmanakaya, Dharmanikaya. Then there's a fourth word that means where they're all joined together. I'm sorry I don't have all those kayas written down here, but that's also occurred. So see what I'm describing is a culmination of all these spiritual practices is occurring. And I read a post on, I think it was today, May 4th, that on Facebook that Lama Surya Das did, that he's quoting, let's see who's quoting, Nosho Kempo Rinpoche. Woo! I'm going to show a picture of this guy. This is a holy enlightened being, Nosho Kempo Rinpoche. He taught the Dalai Lama Dzogchen, and he taught Lama Surya Das Dzogchen. This is very holy, enlightened being. This is a quote from him. And he was alive when Lama Surya Das was in the East and taught him. So it's a current holy, enlightened being. Here was the quote, and it revolves around emptiness. Emptiness is the knowing of one that frees all. Now, what's that? Emptiness is the knowing of one that frees all. That one is this. In Buddhism, they don't call it God, the essence, presence, clear light, but we can call it that because we do A Course in Miracles and we do Tibetan Buddhism. But that one is God's presence, the one. Here comes Danelle. Oh, wait just 1 second to make sure. Then now there's God Ed. God Ed is here. Here's God Danelle. Welcome, welcome. I'm quoting from Nosho Kempo Rinpoche Danelle. He's a holy enlightened being that taught Lama Surya Das Dzogchen and taught the Dalai Lama, the current Dalai Lama Dzogchen. Here's the quote I read today. Emptiness is because emptiness is this pure word that Buddhism uses. The Course doesn't use it. Course really just talks purity and light. And I read a quote from Jesus earlier out of the Bible, Matthew 6:22, Danelle said, if your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Because, oh, I forgot to say, so as I was meditating, laying with the black mask, the sleep mask on, is, and then when I just meditate in my chair without the mask on, my head seems hollow. The mind body continuum is hollow, means it's nothing's in there. All the obscurations, elaborations have been let go of, but hollow, empty means empty. It's full of purity, like Jesus just said, full of light, clear light. It's clear light. And two things are going on. This right and left brain hemispheres have rejoined, and what's happening, they're turning horizontally and they're rotating in a horizontal circle. Behind my forehead, there's a movement, a horizontal rotating circle, and it intersects this vertical rotating circle of the great ray. The great ray is circling down and up. It's vertically rotating down, up, circling. And the two horizontal rotating circle and the vertical rotating circle are meeting at my third eye, at the third eye. And then third eye is open to both the vertical ascension of heaven and the horizontal physical realm, earth. That's this intersection of these two axes, horizontal axis and vertical axis. And during awakening, the intersection has moved from my heart cave. It's now here at this third eye. Although with all these vertical and horizontal open, all the chakras, man, they are pulsating, all in union, all lined up, just a forceful pulsating. Oh, and this horizontal and vertical axis picture, if a horizontal right and left brain, physical and spiritual, is rotating horizontally, and this vertical great rays rotating vertically, what it creates is a sphere around my body, a sphere. Now just sit with that later. You got a horizontal rotating, and so it's rotating all within the sphere horizontally, all kinds of multiple high and low. And then there's the vertical one, and they make a sphere. Because in A Course in Miracles, it talks about the sphere, a pure sphere, and Dzogchen and Buddhism talks about the sphere. But anyway, we'll go back to this quote, which is about emptiness, purity. The second line says, emptiness is the supreme king of medicines. Because in Buddhism, Buddha talked about the antidotes for samsara, antidotes for suffering and misery, and he lists different ones. But the ultimate, the secret one is Treched, of seeing through, being through, cutting through all these images. And even your own body as an image, you're letting go of this thought of a separate belief of a separate self, and the belief in separate objects that are out in front of your vision and in your mind, these images in your mind. I'm going to cover the practices I've done that's resulted in this culmination of all the kayas, mind, heart, mind, breath, and energy, and body merging as one empty vessel full of light, just one full of light. Oh, look, here's Nance. We haven't seen Nance. Here's Nance. Oh, welcome, God, Nance. Okay, so this emptiness or this purity of God's presence is the supreme king of medicines. Just being aware, stopping, pausing to see through, be through. Like now I look at Nance, I see through, be through her form to the clear light of God's presence that she is. And that Ed is, Dee is, Lynn is, Julia, Danelle, Debbie, me, all beings. The essence of everything is clear light, because the great ray comes down, compresses light to make the images, and on the upward ascension swing, the image is released back to its clear light essence. The essence of everything is clear light, and that animates everything is clear light. So it's the medicine too, to see through, be through your image and all images. Jesus calls that advanced forgiveness, where you're looking beyond the flesh, beyond the body, to the pure light of spirit that's here now. The third line here in No Sho Kempo Rinpoche says is, emptiness is the nectar of immortality. Emptiness we're talking about is the purity of God's presence, is the nectar of immortality. And I forgot to say, I've mentioned right in the beginning, is for me to be able to experience seeing the clear light of God's presence no matter what I'm doing. That means that time and distance has collapsed. Because if time and distance was still a reality in my mind, I wouldn't be seeing the clear light of God with everything I was doing. I would still be back in dualism. We're seeing these separate objects coming and going, just separate objects. But now it's all integrated. As I do anything, I see the clear light of God's presence while I'm doing anything. That's immortality. Immortality. No longer living within dualistic beliefs of subject, object, and a separate self. It's all integrated, all together, all flowing together. Here's the fourth line. Emptiness is spontaneous accomplishment without effort. Now, see, the only effort I've been doing is my practice of these daily practice of this list that I'm going to be going over. But what resulted by me integrating, seeing through, being through these images, taking a breath and letting go, pausing, letting go, relaxing the skin to relax, dissolve like a salt doll in the sea with the clear light of God's presence that's here now, that's not an effort then. The effort comes with the practice, making sticky notes to remember to practice. Integrate these things in your daily life. The last sentence is, emptiness is enlightenment without exertion. Emptiness is enlightenment without exertion. So now I'm not having to visualize in my mind, oh, I know there's clear light here. I'm going to stop and see it. Or I'm going to stop and be through that image. Now that's practice. Or visualizing the luminous, groundless ground of God's presence. I no longer have to do those practices. Naturally now, it's spontaneous and it's without exertion. The clear light is present. I don't have to do anything now. Just here. I don't even have to be anymore. This is just it. This is the culmination. You're living. We live this. I'm living this way. What's it called? The divine dance of illusion. Because we're not discarding these images, calling them good and bad, labeling them, yet we never put our body in harm's way. But we're seeing the clear light essence of each image. Now I'm going to go. Now let me look at my notes. What else led up to all this? I explained that. Oh, now this thing of May 1st is when I laid down in bed and had the sleep mask on and told myself, this is the second time. Well, this second time I've actually kind of had a definitive statement to myself that I was tired of being a victim of my own thoughts and emotions. But this time, for some reason, it was just more emphatic. I laid down in bed and I had the sleep mask on, and I said to myself, I'm not getting up until I'm either awakened or my bones turn to dust. And I think I heard that from a quote Lama Surya Das said, that Buddha said when he was sitting under the Bodhi tree. He wasn't going to get up till he either had enlightenment or his bones turned to dust, something like that. I apologize if I'm getting this wrong. But as I laid there in bed, the sleep mask is gone. And what that does, it allows my awareness to really, my eyes are open with it. I'm gazing out into that blackness, which is the purity of God's clear light presence. The clear light is there, and we're just seeing through it to this pure blackness of God's presence, blackness, pure, slick, because it's so compacted, pure light, it looks black. It's so compacted with pure light, it looks black. But it gives off this effervescence, this glow, this luminosity that's called clear light. And because the brain cannot process the close proximity of pure blackness with clear light, the brain sees gray typically. So if you ever close your eyes and you're meditating and you see gray, you know you're looking at the clear light, the luminosity of God's presence. That's what that gray means. I never understood that till lately. But anyway, what I want to say is, what was that? Oh, that was on May 1st. May 1st. Then I would say to myself, I'm dissolving like a salt doll in the sea. And I was saying to myself, let's see, I'm dissolving within cognizant luminosity. Cognizant means awake, alert, knowing, all knowing luminosity. But then, and oh, and that's when I felt like the fizz, the effervescence of this. That means the image is dissolving. When it liberates, it's a fizz. It's like it just fizzes back to clear light. The form just dissolves, fizzes back to clear light. I felt a fizz around my lips, chin, and nose. And I knew I was dissolved within the clear light. I'm not kidding you. So I could get up then. I didn't have to lay. Oh, this was like from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I checked my the time on my cell phone. I that this whole where I was leaned back, relaxed, being with God's presence, leaning, dissolving, 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 but went deeper, 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 because that's why I explain about it's don't have premature emasculation. That means when you have one big like glimpse or one big opening to God's presence, you think, oh, I'm awake now because I've had that issue in the past. No, no. This that can it can if it stabilizes and stays, then you're home. You're back home. But typical that it takes some maturing and stabilizing and continued practice to get it to mature and stabilize. But um, so it's subtle. This subtle is this total letting go because of just the millions or trillions of thoughts of separation. Those are in the unconscious mind or all over the body, heart, mind, all the chakras. You just leaning back, you're letting all these judgments, and when you're dissolving into God's presence, those automatically get let go of. Oh, during that time period, some images would come to mind of current things still that needed to be let go of, and those would be current family members, neighbors here at the condo, the politicians, uh things like that. Let me see, neighbors, politicians, my board members here at my condo that I'm on, current current images, current images in my life, my loved ones, my friends in this life. And I would just immediately, when their image would come up, I'd see clear light. Next one would show up clear light. And I wasn't having to bring up the names like I've done in the past. They just showed up. Okay. So then I felt dissolved. I felt um dissolved within the clear light of God's presence. So I got up around 2 o'clock. But anyway, so that was Friday. Then Saturday, I'm going through my notes here. Anymore. So Saturday morning, as I woke up, I decided to put the sleep mask back on. And as I put the sleep mask on, then I was gazing into this purity of God's presence. This vision showed up of this. Let's see, is there were gray swirling cloud like wisp, but then at the top part of the screen there was a picture of, not a picture, but my head showed up, and it showed up from the eyes up. The eyes up, my head, eyes showed up. Eyes were open. And then that left, and next showed up was the head of Buddha. And then sitting there, from the eyes up, his eyes are closed. And he's got a top knot. And there's Buddha sitting there in among the gray swirls. And that went away. And then what I want to, uh, let's see, oh, that was 5-3. Um, that's May 2nd, Saturday. Then Sunday, May 3rd, when I wake up, I don't no longer wear the sleep mask all night, but I woke up with the sleep mask back on. This time, when I looked in my mind, I want to explain something that it called the Indra's net, Indra apostrophe S, Indra's net. Looks like a fisherman's net. It's got all these squares that are attached together like a net, Indra's net. I looked in my mind, and I remember I talked to you about gray is the glow, the luminosity, the glimmer, the shimmer of God's clear light presence. In my mind, there showed up gray, but in the background was an Indra's net made up of, I've never seen an Indra's net made up of gray, all gray. They've been before golden shimmering yellow golden shimmering, and never seen it where it just filled my screen. The net filled my screen. It would be little nets, little nets. But anyway, these gray squares were about a 16th inch square. They were small, all sitting side by side, above, below, side by side, filled the screen. But in front, there was kind of some gray wisp. But immediately I knew that was an Indra's net. To see what has occurred is this horizontal behind the forehead is the right brain hemisphere and the left brain hemisphere with a corpus callosum in the middle. But when we're asleep, these two hemispheres aren't talking to each other. The right side is the spiritual side. The left side's the thinking, physical sensation side. They're not communicating. Awakening involves the starting for this physical thinking side to once in a while jump over there and access the spiritual side of openness, clearness, vastness, spaciousness. But those two hemispheres had joined and they're rotating in a horizontal circle and intersecting the vertical great ray that's rotating vertically at the third eye. So what's happened, it's rejoined the dualism. This band behind the forehead represents dualism, and this great ray is non-dualism. They've intersected at the third eye and merged. So that's why when I'm walking around, I see the clear light of God's presence no matter what I'm doing. There's an integration of heaven and earth, samsara and nirvana. There's nirvana within samsara. So that's why the Indra's net is showing full on my screen. I now see and feel everything is interconnected. Nothing is any longer separate. Is pretty unusual feeling and vision, or not even a vision, a view, to walk around seeing the clear light of God's presence, no matter what you're doing. It never leaves. And everything's integrated. It's miraculous. So there's a quote. Let's see. There's a quote. Let's see. What page is this? Is the quote about page 5 and 6? Let's see if I can find that. I don't know. I got all these papers here. Oh, here. Here is this. When I was trying to understand what was going on in my mind, I saw a Facebook post about EP-89 podcast of Lama Surya Das titled Enlightenment and Subjectivity on the Awakening Now, Be Here Now network, EP-89. So I listened to it. And in it, because I was trying to understand what the hey is going on here. And that's when I realized dualism and non-dualism had come together. Here's what his quote, what he was teaching these people in an in-person retreat. This was a podcast that he took some video and put it, not video, but audio into this podcast. Quote, can we perceive things this way with our non-dualistic third eye at the same time with our dualistic two eyes, so we can have depth perception and balance in practical terms? Because see, remember when I told you that in the last month, off and on, I would feel like I had to be careful how I walked. I was off balance, off kilter. I feel like I could fall because I knew my brain was assimilating openness versus this being contracted, and it was off balance. It hadn't integrated it. And now I realize it hadn't integrated, the two sides of my brain hadn't integrated together yet. But and to join with non-dualistic third eye, here's what he's teaching. I'm going to repeat this. Can we perceive things this way with our non-dualistic third eye at the same time with our dualistic two eyes, so we have depth perception and balance in practical terms about virtue and vice, healthy and unhealthy, helpful and harmful, and so on? See, that answered it, because I never thought about what does awakening really mean, because I knew it means we're gonna see the purity of everything, but I didn't know if everything would just disappear. Not no, that is not. I don't no longer see it that way. It's an integration of all the forms and images with the clear light, because they're created that way by the Son of God. They were created out of light and they liberate back to light. And so they are together. They're not separate. And we don't have to give up, throw away these images. We just need to see their clear light essence that's in each one. And then you be with them, and you are having a divine dance of illusion. You know, these images physically aren't there, yet you see them and you enjoy them and appreciate them, and you're aware of their pure clearness. And of course, in the absolute, there is no form or no images, but we don't live in the absolute. We're talking about being awakened, living your life as it is, leaving things as they are, not judging things good and bad, healthy and unhealthy. How did he say here? Helpful and harmful. Constantly labeling, sorting the images, the emotions, the feelings, the sounds, the sensations from the six senses. We're learning to let the thoughts, feelings, and sensations come and go without labeling them. So now I didn't really get to my hope, although I've incorporated this list of things I've been practicing to come to this uh, uh, this culmination, this actualization of Dzogchen, of the natural great perfection, where we know and are living and being our true innate empty nature and see the innate empty nature of all the cosmos, of everything, called dharmata, and that other word DHARDH ARMADHATU. That's when it's all everything, the big picture, everything is empty. Cosmos that encompass the emptiness that encompasses everything, nirvana and samsara. Okay, so here's things I've been practicing that brought this to a culmination in the last month or two. On your alarm, your cell phone, I set my alarm to remind me to do things. And now when that alarm goes off, before I shut it off, I pause, and it is a reminder for me to see the clear light of God's presence that's here. And my alarm goes off several times during the day because I have different activities and things going on. So that's an opportunity to stop, pause, and see the clear light essence of everything. Learning to let thoughts, feelings, and sensations come and go. Here's one of the biggest ones: learning to be fully 100% present with what I was doing as I was doing it. And that causes you to be aware of this moment, this moment, this moment, this breath, then you're aware of your feeling, how you feel. You're not ignoring, denying your feelings, but yet you be with them and you let them go. You let them be. Learning to see things as they are and not how I want them to be, meaning not having expectations or change, wanting things to be different. Now, it doesn't mean we do not put ourselves in harm's way. And I do my exercise. I, you know, but it comes down to wanting to change others. If they didn't act that way, then I sure wouldn't be acting this way, right? Then that's subject object. That's what we're letting go of, wanting to change others. We're not physical doormats or mental doormats for anybody. We leave the situation, call 911 if you need to. But after you get away from that, you're remembering there the clear light essence of the people, all people involved in the event. And you're asking for help, whomever you're asking for help, and seeing as soon as you can the clear light essence of them. And that brings up a point. Then at the end of the day, this is what I've been practicing. I look back over my day and be honest with myself about any negative things I've done. And then I change my mind about them, seeing the clear light essence of the people, or counting and thinking about the things that were helpful for people, of being empathetic and compassion and seeing the light in everyone and everything. But that's cleaning up my karma daily. Learning to breathe, relax, and smile. That's so huge. And the biggest deal is on the exhale saying AH, ah, ah. As I researched the third eye, AH is associated with the third eye. And when you sit with that, you'll get it. And I sat with it and I got it. Just picture when you do an exhale and you go, ah, you relax, you've let go, your skin relaxes, and you're dissolved in that moment into the clear light of God's presence. That same awe as opens your third eye, it relaxes to that clear light presence of God, that single vision of clear light essence. So AH is associated with the third eye, and it's also associated with Dzogchen. The big A that's in the Dzogchen emblem either is awareness or awe. I didn't get to research it that far, but the AH has such a huge import on your awakening if you practice this letting go, letting be, dissolving and relaxing. And does it? And then just pause, relax, be for a moment, not doing, but being, just being. Practicing Tritchet, I talked about that, and advanced forgiveness. Oh, I've been practicing the last couple of months, saying when I watch TV, there's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. To stop and then see this clear light that's here. There's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. And then also, there's nothing to hear. When you hear a sound, a bird sound, nothing to hear and no one hearing anything. What that's doing, that's releasing your mind from its false beliefs of a separate self, nothing to see and no one seeing anything. Releasing you from a separate self and releasing these objects, belief in separate objects. That's two-ness, that's separation, that's dualism. Practice being aware of my feelings that were divisive, to stop and reflect on what I had been judging, to change my mind, to see the people and events, clear light essence. Meditating daily with a Zoom group. And that really allows you to recognize when your thoughts are going into the future or the past, you simply let go. Let the thoughts go. Let them come and go. And then what we're also doing, we're cultivating capital A awareness. See, what could also be said has happened with me is capital A awareness naked awareness has awakened. It has awakened. Capital A awareness, naked awareness. Naked awareness sees purity everywhere. And what's happening? I'm seeing the pure, clear light of God everywhere while I'm doing anything. But if you don't meditate daily, let alone not with a group, there's a synergy effect and it's a group effort and it really helps in awakening, is then you're cultivating this awareness from ordinary awareness that where you allow your mind to go off with a thought, thinking about a memory from the past and labeling and sorting that memory. Oh, it was so much better in the past when this person was here or I was there. Oh, I missed that person or I missed this event. And before you know, you've built a whole story. You've glued thought upon thought. That's called gluing moments and thoughts into a rosary instead of having just bead, thought, thought, thought. We glue thoughts and memories onto this moment, and we make a story. We make a memory. These are just images in the mind. Now you can still enjoy a memory, but what I'm talking about here is in meditation, becoming aware of the nature of that ordinary awareness and that ordinary small m mind. That's what's happening. You got to wake up from that to cultivate big M mind, big S self, big capital A awareness, where you're aware of what's going on and you're choosing what thoughts you're going to go with and what feelings you're going to be with. You're not just on a gerbil wheel doing the same old crap over and over and over. Without meditation, it's hard for that to break out. Going through my entire life to practice seeing the light in everyone. Lama Surya Das calls that seeing the light in everything and everyone. Now, that's not easy to do if you don't remember to do it. Then especially, he was talking about last week on traffic. When you're at a traffic light and stopped, that's ample opportunity to practice seeing the clear light of spirit in those drivers. Or if you're the passenger in the car, then you got a lot of opportunities to practice seeing the clear light of God's presence in every vehicle, in every tree, etc. And these are down to the last three things. Going through past wars and conflicts from the beginning of time and asking for forgiveness for my actions in harming and killing others. Because I believe in reincarnation. You don't have to, but the thing is, the lineage, there's a lineage of our ancestry. You know, your great grandparents, your great grandparents. There's a lineage of DNA that follows that lineage. That's why people go check their DNA out. That lineage follows each person. Well, those are great grandfathers. There's this lineage of past lifetimes. It'll follow your spirit. For me, so then I'm just practicing letting go, asking for forgiveness of me being a soldier in all those lifetimes and doing that job of where I end up killing others or killed by other soldiers. The last here, second to last, wearing a sleep mask. That Timo brought that up about it's now almost 2 months ago. I mean, it's amazing because it helps cultivate this heightened awareness, this acute helps cultivate your awareness from ordinary awareness to this hyper acute capital A awareness, where you're precisely aware of your feelings, you're aware of a thought. You're not just jumping on a thought and acting old ways. You're aware of a thought and you don't aren't going to go do that thought. The last one here is practicing nothing more to do but rest in the view. Now, if you only do one of these things, nothing more to do but rest in the view, that could take you all the way home, although Tretch is really the secret. But anyway, um, so there, oh man, it's 8:06, so we're good. We just ended here, perfect timing. Thank you, each one of you, for coming out this evening. I so appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure hoping in something I said was able to help you in your practice and maybe stir you to integrate some more of these practices into your daily life. Thank you, God D, for being here. Let's go through the screen and think of each of us, each of these people here as the holy light beings they are. Holy God D, Holy God Ed, Holy God Nance, Holy God Lynn, Holy God Debbie, Holy God Julia, Holy God Danelle, Holy God Glenda. And to those that listen to this later, wow. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, just a moment. Let's send our awareness out to all the war zones, all those hungry and forlorn and lonely and homeless people, people in pain, people suffering. Let's just see through, be through that for this moment, for this moment. Think about the clear light, the pure, clear light presence of God that's here now. In them, that's their essence. In them, as them, that's all there is. God's clear light presence showing up as this magic show that like a hologram, like a dream, like a mirage. The dance, divine dance of illusion. But you all are awakening to remember they're all gods and goddesses walking this holy earth. Amen. Thank you. Any thoughts or comments before I stop the recording or question? Bye, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. Love you, honey. Any comments, questions, or thoughts before? And we're going to stay to chat. Oh, so remember, next week as well, the meeting's going to be on Monday night because there's a Tuesday, because there's a Tuesday night darkness lecture, and it's in my email. There's 3 free lectures that come in about by Andrew Holacek on darkness, and darkness means death. And see, in death, that's why I keep talking about clear light, because in death, as you practice seeing the clear light essence that's in people, yourself, and events, at death, that's what you want to do. You want to look for the clear light and not be deterred or taken, having your mind carried off by different demons or different violent acts or bright colors or bright sounds, that will bring you back to a different bardo where you'll reincarnate in a, I'm not sure how all that works, but the thing is, clear light brings you to this clear, to the clear light, to you can actually experience awakening upon death if you haven't recognized or experienced it prior. So anyway, it's in the email. There's a link. Thank you for coming out. I'm gonna stop the recording, not the event. Record.